the idea of a prequel can be quite polarizing. I mean, in one regard, it's interesting that there's prequels because it basically expands on universes in film and stories, so you can tell a bigger story and tie it together with the original film, and there's things like that, and it expands the lore of the story. So in that regard, prequels, yeah, they're pretty good, and some of them are done well. One of my favorite prequels is actually Prometheus, the prequel to Alien. I think that's done extremely well and ties into the whole Alien franchise very nicely. But there's also the other side where it's like, well, they're quite unnecessary. Sometimes there's no point to them. They don't add much. I didn't think the first Omen from this year added a lot to the Omen movies. I mean, yeah, they do expand on the whole idea, and I suppose it is adding something, but for me, I just thought I might as well just put the first Omen on. I don't really need an explanation about who Damien's mother is, for example. Anyway, I've just watched Apartment 7A, the new Paramount Plus film. It's on their streaming service. It's a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, Roman Polanski's classic, starring Mia Farrow. Couple of the characters are back, Minnie and Roman, the old couple who obviously orchestrate the birth of the Antichrist in Rosemary's Baby, are in this film. So talk a little bit about the narrative, talk about my thoughts a little bit, the way it looked, the aesthetic. The narrative is very reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby. I mean, the beats of the film, completely similar. Obviously, it's a different story. It's a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, set a little bit prior to that narrative. It centres around a character called Terry, and Terry is actually in Rosemary's Baby, and it does show you how one of the events in Rosemary's Baby occur. So a little bit of a spoiler, so spoiler alert. In Rosemary's Baby, Rosemary talks to a character called Terry, who also lives in the apartment building, in the laundry room. And at one point in the film, Terry turns up dead on the pavement, splattered. She's fell from a high window, or on the roof, off the roof of the building. So Terry is in Rosemary's Baby very briefly. She's in the laundry scene, and she gets found dead. This film is a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and it tells the story of Terry. So you have this character called Terry, who's a dancer. She wants to make it big in the theatre scene, dancing in plays and film. In New York, she's trying to make it big. She's from Nebraska, from a farm. At the beginning of the film, she has a career-changing injury, career-altering, and is no longer to dance to the standard in which she did. So her dreams have basically been shattered. Her roommate's thinking about trying to get her to move out or back with her family because Terry's not earning enough money to basically keep herself and pay towards the rent. There's that issue. Terry comes across the couple, Minnie and Roman, the older couple, who basically live in the big apartment building that's in Rosemary's Baby. She befriends them. They offer her an apartment which they own. They say they bought it just for, as an asset because they're very wealthy. And Terry goes to live in the apartment in the same building as Minnie and Roman. So they're in another apartment. She's in another apartment. She's just been gifted this big free apartment for nothing. But obviously there's something sinister behind the scenes. And obviously Terry's going to have to repay her debt to the Minnie and Roman tenfold. And there's a bizarre scene where she's in this gentleman's apartment who's on the dance committee, basically runs shows. Terry's trying to get in some of the shows. She visits him. He also lives in the apartment building. She has a drink with him. Her drink's obviously been spiked. She's trying to leave. The walls are closing in. The doorway's getting further away. Really good scene, like aesthetically very nicely done. The whole film's pretty glossy. Like, it's a very well-made film. The cinematography is pretty darn good. And Terry basically collapses. Well, nearly collapses, should I say. She doesn't completely collapse. And these hands come in front of her, and it turns into a dance number, which I thought was rather silly. That's one thing I didn't like about this film. Don't get me wrong, I know Terry's a dancer, so it all ties into the narrative. But they have these weird, surreal dance numbers, and you don't know whether it's real or not. It's more than likely a figment of Terry's imagination. She goes down steps in her dance-like attire, like leotard and stuff, and there's people around there. All looks quite pleasant, like some sort of fun dream. Then suddenly it turns sinister when she's placed onto a bed, tied up, and a man appears, a figure without a face, and then it turns out to be this sort of like man with, you know, he looks really creepy and he's got no expressions, or, you know, no facial expressions, and he's kind of weird and got sparkles and he's completely blacked out. He obviously impregnates her. Very reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby, apart from in this they added the whole dance number part to it, which I find kind of cringe. I mean, it does work because Terry's a dancer. It just takes away from the sort of creepy atmosphere. But anyway, she's obviously impregnated, unaware. She thinks that it was a dream. She learns she's become impregnated. She starts getting better at dancing, but she's not aware that this couple, obviously Minnie and Roman, are a part of an occult, you know, part of a cult, a satanic cult. They're trying to bring the Antichrist to Earth. They've impregnate and bring the end of times. Obviously, Terry's been impregnated. She's now carrying the Antichrist, Satan's spawn. And she starts to become aware of this. She speaks to a nun. The nun says the whole apartment building was built by occultists, you know, to get this deed achieved. Things take a spiral, very similar and reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby, practically the same sort of notes. The film is slightly different with different characters, like Terry's the main character and whatnot, but the way things play out really does hit similar beats. It's no Rosemary's Baby, it wouldn't be, like, I don't really need to go over that, but it gets to the point where she's trying to get away, but she's completely trapped. There's other people involved who are part of the cult, and obviously they're going to make sure that this pregnancy goes through. Bit of a spoiler alert, so we'll get to the final scene. There's a big dance number where she's dancing around all the cult people, the occultists, and at a party, and then you get your very revealing climax to the film. She's still pregnant. She hasn't given birth like at the end of Rosemary's Baby, but that scene mirrors Rosemary's Baby almost identically, where, you know, where Rosemary walks into the room and they're all there and the baby's in the crib, you know, the Satan spawn, all the occultists are there with little flutes of wine and glasses of wine, all drinking, and they're very happy that the end of days for mankind is coming. And just like in Rosemary's Baby, but it's Terry walking into the room, and unlike Rosemary's Baby, she does a big dance number where she's dancing around and is playing a song and stuff from the 60s. And then of course the ending's very revealing. After the dance number, you sort of sat there thinking, do we really need this dance number in a creepy film? It kind of takes away. But then how the ending plays out, you're like, I see why they did the dance number, and it all adds up and makes sense. I'm not going to give the ending away. It does tie into Rosemary's Baby, as I said, because the character Terry's in Rosemary's Baby very briefly, and of course her fate, which you do see in Rosemary's Baby, is sort of revealed how we get to that at the climax of this film. That's enough talking about the plot. Anyway, cinematography, really good, really shot well, good acting. You got what's the actress called? Julia Garner as Terry. You've got Minnie and the characters Minnie and Roman in there. There's a couple of good like devil parts, you know, where you briefly see like the devil, very brief image of the devil. You know, some of the creepy factors, pretty good, pretty on point. But as a whole, I just wasn't really feeling it. The dancing, I get it because Terry's a dancer, so they're going to put a bit of dancing in there, but they prolong the dance numbers too long, and it just takes away from the whole creepy atmosphere and scary atmosphere. You kind of think, yeah, but this doesn't feel like a scary movie when you're doing this dance stuff. I mean, not everything in a scary movie has to be like terrifying, of course not. You need building blocks, and you need to take from other genres to make the characters more immersive and interesting as well. But the dancing really I think gets a little bit overdone. And yeah, so it looks really good film aesthetically. Few issues I have with the whole dancing constantly, kind of did my head in a little bit, but yeah, it looked very good, and Julia Garner does a fantastic job as the character Terry, very good, and the people who played Minnie and Roman do a fantastic job as well. Yeah, that's about it really. So looks really nice, ties into the Rosemary's Baby. One problem I do have with it, so I'll talk a little bit about the problems. A problem I do have with it is, yeah, I get that it's a prequel and it's setting up Rosemary's Baby. It's going to have tie-ins and little intricate things that sort of weave together narratively. However, it's too like Rosemary's Baby. When you do a remake or a modern day sequel or a prequel, yeah, you've got to tie the films together, but also you've got to make it its own thing. This has different elements to Rosemary's Baby, of course, different characters, and Terry's a dancer. Rosemary wasn't a dancer in Rosemary's Baby, and you know, it's all like, it has its own like little things that make it a little bit unique, but also it's very similar to Rosemary's Baby, and it hits the same beats with the, you know, once she finds out she's pregnant and carrying Satan's child, hits completely the same beats. Like I said, the ending scene where she walks into the apartment with the occultists and partying, that's mirrors Rosemary's Baby almost identically, bar a few aesthetical things, but very, you know, they really did capture that scene again pretty well if you're trying to be identical. But I didn't like that because it's too like Rosemary's Baby. So as a whole, it's okay. It's well done, well acted, cinematography is good, it looks nice, it's shiny and glossy, but perhaps a bit too much, and it's too similar to Rosemary's Baby, so you might as well just watch Rosemary's Baby. I can't see myself watching this film again unless it's been about 10 years and I want to watch Rosemary's Baby as well, and I watch this one just to sort of prepare for that. But overall, I wouldn't even watch it again. It's too similar to Rosemary's Baby. I might as well just watch Rosemary's Baby because they hit the same plot points virtually identically. And yeah, it's just too alike. When you do a prequel or a remake, sequel, make them its own thing so they've got their own kind of narrative. But this is just completely almost beat for beat like Rosemary's Baby, but with sprinkles of its own identity scattered throughout. If I was going to rate it out of 5, I would give this film a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So 2.5 out of 5, halfway point. That would be a 5 out of 10 if it was on an out of 10 scale. Yeah, that's my review anyway of Apartment 7A. Check it out for yourself. It's on Paramount Plus at the moment. I think it aired on Friday. It got added to the streaming service. I've just watched it this afternoon. It's an okay film. It's not bad. It's worth a watch if you're a fan of Rosemary's Baby and you want to explore the lore and the sort of narrative a bit more, and you want to see, you know, perhaps how the character in Rosemary's Baby, Terry, you know, what happened to her. It is that story. So it's worth a watch, especially if you have Paramount Plus. Definitely worth a watch. If you're already paying for Paramount, watch it. But overall, I wouldn't say it's must see. It's too similar to Rosemary's Baby. Anyway, that's my quick review. Thanks for watching. Go check it out for yourself. That's my little video on Apartment 7A, the new Rosemary's Baby prequel from 2024. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.